One of the most common ways to catch wasps is to use a trap like this. The way this works is you have kind of a liquid bait in there. It attracts the wasps. The wasps climb up through the cone, and then once they get in, they can't figure out how to get back out. So they just stay in there and they die. So the nice thing about this is you're not using any insecticide or anything like that. It's a very simple trap. You can set it up wherever you want. I would say the main drawback to this, however, is that the bait may not last a long time. When I set this up, I've got it in the full sun. It lasted about a day. So it trapped wasps pretty well for a day. And then after that, it just didn't work. So you have to replace the bait a lot. And you could put your own bait in there. You could put maybe like fruit or something sweet, or you could put raw chicken or something like that. Ultimately, though, this isn't really something I recommend. I'm not going to use it again. It's too much work for what it does. It's not going to get rid of an entire nest or anything like that. The one area I probably would recommend it is if maybe you have an outdoor picnic area or kitchen area and you just want to prevent the wasps going from where you are and going to this trap instead. It might work well for that. Earlier this year, I had a wasp nest in our apple tree and it was big. They built it fast and I didn't really know how I wanted to get rid of it. It's kind of in an awkward place. So what I ended up doing is I bought a bee suit, I cut the branch off, I put it in a tub, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with them. I just decided to do an experiment and see what they would do in the tub. And within a day, they were all dead. I did this in the middle of the summer. The lid was tight enough that they couldn't get out, but I think there was plenty of air in there. So I don't think they were suffocating or anything like that. I think they simply just died of the heat. I believe it was in June or July, got really hot. So within a day, they were all dead. So if you have a bee suit and you're able to use that method, I'd actually highly recommend it. It was really simple. And within a day, all of the wasps in the nest were dead. But that doesn't mean all of the wasps were dead, because there were some wasps not in there and they ended up all coming back to the same branch. I guess they have a smell or a scent. So they came back and they started to build another nest. So another way to get rid of wasps, and I don't have any video clips of this, but every day as I watered my garden, I put the nozzle on the jet spray, the fast one. I stood back about 10 to 15 feet and I just sprayed the wasps. Now, when the wasps get wet, they don't really fly around a lot for a while. They just kind of fall on the ground. Doesn't really kill them with just water, but it completely destroyed the nest. Now, this isn't really a method I would recommend because the wasps kept on coming back day after day. They kept on trying to make the nest. I did the same thing. I just came back day after day, destroyed their nest, and eventually over time, they either all died or they moved on or something. So using the water to spray all the wasps is not a quick and easy way to get rid of them. But in some areas where it might be very difficult to get to the wasps, and if they're not a lot in a small nest, that's something you could consider. Last summer in my shed here, I had a bunch of wasp nests. They made the wasps kind of up in that area, and I simply used the standard wasp spray that you get. It shoots a jet of foam, kills all the wasps instantly. Now, similar to spraying water, wasps will come back. So the wasps that aren't there when you spray the nest, they will come back. The spray does have some effectiveness after the time you spray it, but it seems like once it dries, so after a day or so, it doesn't appear to impact the wasps because they will come back. So if you use a spray on a nest, what I would suggest is you spray it really well, get all the wasps that you can, and then remove the nest, destroy it, and then you'll probably have to follow up and keep on checking for a while, come back with the spray, get the wasps, and eventually they will stop coming back. The thing I like about the spray, this is pretty inexpensive. It does work well. It shoots a big jet. I think the main thing to be aware of is it is an insecticide. So if that's something you don't want to use, then you might want to use another method. Another way to get rid of wasps is to eliminate the area where they build homes. So I had wasps building a nest in the cracks of my house and I did some spray foam. Now, I've done spray foam in a lot of areas in the house where I've seen wasps start to make a nest. The interesting thing about the spray foam is after I sprayed it, a lot of the wasps that weren't in the nest, they kept on coming back and they started trying to eat through the foam. So that's something to be aware of. And yes, they absolutely can eat through the foam. But what I ended up doing to get rid of these wasps is if you use water and dish soap, that will kill wasps as well. Let's talk a little bit about wasps and how they breathe. They don't breathe through their mouths like we do. They breathe through their bodies. If they get wet, their bodies have a way to kind of repel the water, so it's not a big deal. But if the water has dish soap in it, that breaks the surface tension of the water. So if you have water with dish soap and you put it on a wasp, they no longer repel the water like they did before, and the water basically suffocates them. So I just got a spray bottle, and every day I would come out and I would spray the wasps that were here. And again, that's something I had to do quite a few times times before they all decided not to come back, but eventually it did work. You could also use an insecticide, and that might be a little bit easier, but honestly it's kind of fascinating to use dish soap and water. The last thing I want to talk about is powders like this. I had a bunch of wasps that built a big nest underneath here. In the spring I noticed them, and I'd come out here every day and I'd just spray them with soap water, and that killed all the wasps kind of going in and out, but the nest was so big that that ultimately wasn't very effective. So I decided to look into a powder. The nice thing about powders is they'll take the powder into the nest and kind of do damage into the nest. So I ended up trying a few things. One thing I tried was getting a bucket of soap water and see if I could kind of flood them out. I think because of the nature of the wood, that didn't really work. Now, if you had a wasp nest that they were building a hole in the ground, I think that would be a pretty good first place to start. You'd want to wear a bee suit. Depending on how much water you put down, you might be able to kill all the wasps. I imagine the way they build the nest, it probably wouldn't saturate everything, so you'd probably still have some wasps that live, and that's when you would want to try a powder. Now, the first powder I tried was diatomaceous earth, and the reason I tried this is just because it's not an insecticide. This is a natural, I think it's made from dried crustaceans or something like that. Not exactly sure what it is, but this doesn't harm you or pets or anything like that. This is typically reserved for cockroaches, fleas, ants, bed bugs, and stuff like that. I wanted to see if it would work for wasps, and it didn't really. So in case you're wondering if this works for wasps, I tried it. I poured a bunch of powder in, and after about a day and a half, it looked like it wasn't going to work. Maybe if I kept up with it, maybe it would have done something, but I kind of gave up after that point. And I ended up going with this powder. This is the spider and ground bee killer. Now, this is an insecticide. This is safe for some pets, but for cats and fish, this is not safe. So some of you may not want to use this, but I poured this in the hole, and I would say within probably about 30 minutes, I did not see any more wasps coming or going. Out of all of the things I've tried, this was the most effective. If you have the opportunity, put on a bee suit, spray this in. This is going to kill the nest from the inside out. This works really, really well. I've tried just about everything. I hope this video helped. Thanks for watching.